We've got some poetry and photography. We've got, again, with the superhero theme, the Justice Powers. So there's lots of great activities today.
I love the superhero we came up with, by the way. That was so cool.
I can't remember who had Talks to Concrete, and they're like, I can't believe that one was chosen. I'm like, the unusual ones are brilliant, because how valuable would it be to be able to talk to concrete? Like, hey, who's in this building?
One superpower I missed was striped unmatching socks.
I know, and I'm wearing striped socks.
Gold and silver hair, likes coffee. Yeah, I missed a lot of this. So here's the names: Supremo, Glitter Gardner, I think wins my prize. G Litter. Oh my.
This session is recorded because you all are fantastic, and we can't get enough of you. But right now, I am going to turn the time over to the wonderful Kim-Marie McKernan, who is going to give us an amazing session on appreciative inquiry. If you haven't done so yet, the Wings will drop links into chat. She has a sheet that is necessary for this session. Some other points of information: this session is closed captioned. So if you are seeing the closed captioning at the bottom and you don't want to, if you click down on your menu where it says CC live transcript, and there's a little caret next to it, if you click on that, you can get hide subtitles. If you want more than just subtitles and you want to see the whole script, you can click on, it's view transcript, view full transcript. Please be warned, it changes how your screen looks, just so you know. Also, if you are of a stature where you kind of read like this now, I've got glasses everywhere, and you want to increase the font for the subtitles, you can click subtitle settings and you can toggle to where it's the best size for you. But other than that, I'm going to turn everything over to Kim-Marie. Thank you very much, Kim. Take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about my absolute favorite topic and to share with you as much as possible in a short time about appreciative inquiry. So I want to start with really telling you about what appreciative inquiry has meant to me and the successes I've seen with it. So I spent most of my life in the corporate world. And the first time I did a major engagement with appreciative inquiry was when my company decided to form a new service division. They spent over $1 million with an external consultant to develop a plan, and never once asked the frontline employees what they thought about it. So we decided to use appreciative inquiry to help us define a service mindset for the company. We included customers, we included employees, and we included the leadership of the organization. And it had amazing results. And I remember those employees in the session saying, you know, this was the first time anyone asked me about this very important initiative that's going to affect my life, right? So appreciative inquiry is a way you can engage all those people in your organization in a positive way. One of the greatest benefits is that you always start with your strengths and successes. So we're going to explore that more today, but this idea of grounding your conversation with your employees, with your advisors, with your board of directors in what's working first can open up some new thinking. It also encourages all of us to ask better questions. And some of you may know I do a podcast with Tony Belani called Creative Flow. And some of the most preeminent people, when we ask them, what do they value most about creativity? It's this idea of asking better questions. And that's where appreciative inquiry and creativity come together. And the other thing I love about AI that can help you up your game is sometimes exploring problems can put you on this downward negative spiral. And I was earlier, Chelsea and I were chatting, and I said, I remember one experience where the company decided they wanted to explore what was wrong with the corporate culture. And in a room, they filled the entire room with all the things wrong with the company. And then they became so overwhelmed by the negativity that the whole initiative didn't go anywhere. They didn't know what to do next, right? So by starting with what's working, it really changes the nature of the dialogue and opens up new opportunities. So today I'm going to give you a small background in appreciative inquiry for those of you who don't know what it is. Then we're going to get right into experiencing it. Then I'm going to give you some tips on using it, and we'll have lots of time for questions. And I really want to make sure this is a how-to, so you ask me as we go how your questions and how you can use it. So I first want to say, what is appreciative inquiry? I like to start with the two words, appreciative, gratitude, positive. And the whole idea of appreciation growing something in value. So those three pieces. Inquiry, it's about asking really meaningful questions. But I like to also share with you that it is not a tool. You know, like in the creative, I have a master's in creativity from the International Center for Creativity and Change Leadership. And we learn like over 180 tools, awesome tools. But really, appreciative inquiry is an approach or a methodology for how you interact with the world. So it's a bigger idea. It's also highly adaptable. It can be used for coaching. It can be used for leadership. It can be used for summits of thousands of people. It can be used at the governmental levels in corporations, leadership as well. So wonderfully flexible. It was started in the 1980s by Dr. David Cooperrider at Case Western University. And many people don't know about it unless they're in the organizational development. So it really started in organizational development, but now it's really well respected and used in all aspects of change management, HR. I use it in branding and marketing. You know, there's a whole range of opportunities to use it. So one of the things you are going to have a chance to explore today is really experiencing appreciative inquiry is using unconditionally positive questions. And really, appreciative inquiry is really around this idea of asking questions that strengthen the positive potential. So by not going to the negative side of things, people open up, they're more aware of what their colleagues are doing, they're more open and engaged in the process. So you're going to see as we go forward that we really want you to find the positive. We want you to find all those things that are working well in your organization or in your team or in your own personal life. So it's a great way to start in all three aspects. And like creativity, there's a lot of science behind it. It's not an accident that a PhD from Case Western developed this concept. Many people have PhDs in it. It's also very consistent with positive psychology. So many of you are familiar also with positive psychology as the interconnections between these two fields. And I hope at the end of this session, you'll also see the interconnections with the field of creativity. It's also founded in a concept of social constructionism. This idea that through language, we are evolving new opportunities, that as soon as how you say something can impact the outcome. And my favorite phrase for you to really think about in terms of using appreciative inquiry in your organization or team is an organization becomes what is talked about by its people. So if you're always talking about the negative, if you're always talking about problems, if you're always talking about what doesn't work, that's the kind of organization you become, right? If you start talking about what's working and how can we make the world we want to come about, you open up new thinking in a new way. So now I want to encourage all of you to experience AI. And I'm going to walk through what we're going to do in the breakout rooms. So some AI must-haves. So I'm going to ask all of you only one thing in your breakout room. Be very present. When you engage in appreciative inquiry, you are deeply listening. It is a chance to really hear the people you're with. And if you lose that opportunity, you will not truly experience that. I also want you to choose the positive for your focus. So say, can we stay positive in this discussion today? And remember, the conversations are as important as the outcome. And I worked in an organization with lots of engineers, and they were always busy thinking about the outcome. But sometimes those conversations you have in that room, you will remember that more than what you come up with, right? And it's about telling stories of exceptionally positive moments. So pick up, be used to connecting with the story that your partner is telling you. And like creativity, the space matters. So please make a comfortable, safe, and neutral place for the people in your breakout room to really focus on what they're hearing in the conversations. So our strategic intention today is to ignite creativity around the world, right? And we're going to do it through a positive lens. Some interview tips. In the chat, the interview guide is there. We want you to use it as a guideline, but build on it, right? We want you to also let the interview tell their story. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, I feel the same way. And then you give your opinion. Try to really be neutral and let them tell you. You know, you'd be shocked at how few opportunities there are for some people in the work world to really tell those stories of all the good things they've done in their career. It can be very moving. So really let them. Also be genuinely curious. I know this group is, because you're creative, you are genuinely curious. But I always remind people that, you know, ask those questions, like you really want to know about that story of their best experience they have with creativity, right? Allow for silence. This is a difficult one, right, for some of us. But people have to think. This is a reflective process. So if they need a couple of minutes to think of their answer, please give it to them. Please be open to that. Remember, what is discussed in your room is confidential. We're going to ask that the outcome be compiled into themes and shared overall. So your ideas will be present, but you will have the opportunity for a confidential conversation. I am going to encourage you as an interviewer to really use questions to probe further. And this is a great opportunity for you to test that. Something like, tell me more. You want them to go deep into that conversation, right? What caused you to feel that way? How did it affect you? How has it changed you? What were the other people doing? Sometimes people want to tell you very generally in experience, but you want them to tell you an actual specific experience. That's where the nuggets are going to come through in terms of the positive core. I'm going to ask you there'll be 3 people in your breakout room in most cases. The roles are an interviewee, a note taker, and a timekeeper. The timekeeper, please allow 10 minutes per person, total of 30 minutes. Note taker, there is a sheet in the document that's in the chat. Please take notes such as quotable quotes, themes, those big ideas that you're hearing. And I want everyone to really focus on stories of the positive. Any questions from in the chat, or any questions anyone has before we get into it?
Could you go back to slide 13?
Sure. So these are some questions that might help you probe further to your partners to really understand the story that they're telling you. Okay, so Beth, I think we are ready to go into the breakout rooms. I hope everyone has downloaded either the Word or the PDF document. You really need that because they're not easy questions that we can simply put in the chat, right? And I also want you to have this document because it will help you structure an appreciative inquiry session the next time you want to do it.
Waving goodbye.
And I will be going into some of the sessions just to see how everything's going and if you have questions.